Hi, I'm John Gillibrand and I'm the Vicar of Pontarddulais and Penllergaer. What I'm doing today is taking the opportunity of speaking with all the people living in these communities. And I'd like today to talk about the Bible, but especially with those who haven't read the Bible for some time, or with those who might have tried to read the Bible, but have just ended up being puzzled by it. Here it is. I believe that this is the Word of God. As it happens, the Bible that I'm holding was presented to me on the occasion of my ordination many years ago, and it has kept me company ever since. I believe that reading the Bible can be a life-changing experience, opening up new ways of thinking and a whole new way of life. The first thing to say after that is that reading the Bible is interesting, very interesting. It isn't just one book, but a collection of books written over many centuries. All human life is here. There is poetry, there is history, there is prophecy. It helps us think about the world as it is and the world as it should be. So how do we set about reading it? Some people start at the beginning and read through to the end, all the way from the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation. That is one way, but it can be a lot to take in all at once. It is simpler to choose one book and concentrate on that for a while. For example, St. Mark's Gospel in my Bible is just 24 pages. And once you've done that, you have read one of the 4 Gospels, which tell the life story of Jesus. Some people like the old-fashioned language. The King James Version was translated at the beginning of the 17th century. But for regular Bible reading, it is probably better to use a more modern translation, which is closer to the language of our own day. For example, the Good News Bible or the Jerusalem Bible. And of course, there are a wealth of resources and different Bible translations available online. As we read a passage from the Bible, there are some questions to ask. One is, do I understand this? There is nothing wrong in scratching our head. I've been a vicar for over 30 years, and there are still things I find difficult to understand. Sometimes I look at a familiar passage and think to myself, yes, at last, now I understand. Sometimes a new experience in life helps me understand a passage in a new way. As we begin to read a passage, it is often useful to say this simple prayer: God, help me to understand. But it isn't just a question of understanding stuff. The next question is, now that I have read the passage, how does it change things? Above all, how does it change my relationship with God and with those around me? What is different in these few minutes as a result of having read this? Reading the Bible can be quite challenging. We do not need to do this solo. As a vicar, as your priest, I am always delighted to be asked questions about the Bible, and I will always do my best to answer them. Once the lockdown is finished, we will be restarting the parish Bible study group. It is a very welcoming group, and you would be very welcome. We don't have many rules, but one of them is anyone can ask any question. One of the mistakes about reading the Bible is picking out a particular verse and saying, it says this here, so I must do it that way. It is actually much more exciting than that. The Bible speaks about how his people responded to God's call, first through the people of Israel in the Old Testament, and then through the church in the New Testament. The question we ask ourselves is this: if God's people responded to God's call like that in their situation then, how are we in our situation meant to respond to God's call now? That being said, one of the delights of reading the Bible is coming across a particular verse that speaks to us. Let me share one of mine with you. It is from the beginning of St. John's Gospel. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. However tough things are for me, and they are tough for all of us sometimes, my heart fills with hope. That is just one wonderful verse. In the whole of the Bible, there is so much more. It's easy enough to think, oh, I haven't read the Bible since religious education lessons in school or since my days in Sunday school. Why should I start now? But actually, if we do, we have so much to look forward to. As I finish, can I take the opportunity of wishing you all the very best in these difficult times. Best wishes, as well as the assurance of my prayers. May God bless you all.